This is video 97 of 101. This video is about Beyond. November 13th, 2015. That morning I had this dream that I was at some kind of event where we were watching some show and then somebody opened fire in the crowd, and it was one of the most terrifying nightmares that I've ever had, and I can't imagine that actually taking place. But later that night, that actual event did take place in Paris when all these people were at this concert and somebody opened fire on the crowd and then they held hostages and then they killed them all. And when I was hearing about this, I felt like I was there because in my dream I was there and I could really just place myself there in this situation that was happening in real life. And these terror attacks were disgustingly awful, just like every single one of these attacks that has ever happened is disgustingly awful. But it was so strange because the morning of this event, I had this dream where I was there. And this wasn't the first time it had happened, where I had had a dream about something, and then later that day, that thing happened. And it made me start to realize, and I've been a spiritual person for a couple years now. I really enjoy meditating and doing yoga. I find a lot of peace in crystals, and I just love to explore beyond because, we have science, and science is awesome, and science helps us understand things, but we need to realize that there are still a lot of things that we don't understand and that we probably will never understand. And honestly, it's extremely selfish of us to think that the reality that we see is the only one. Because of that dream and because of a lot of others and just the way that I live my life and the way that the world has worked, I truly believe that I'm very aligned in my path, and I can really see that in signs everywhere, and maybe I'm just picking up on them, but who's to say that I'm wrong? Who are you to say that I'm wrong and that I don't have some sort of abilities in this life? Maybe we all do, we just don't know how to hone in on them. Who's to say that we don't, And if you do, if you just dismiss it, if you say, oh, it's not scientific, well, science was something that we created, but who created us? That's something we still don't understand. So how can we use something that we've created to justify what created us? That's not even possible. There are so many things in this world that we will never be able to understand. Science helps us a little bit. Science kind of helps us sleep at night and be like, oh no, it's okay, like everything is happening this way for a reason. But honestly, it's just a way for us to sleep at night, or just to know and explore and kind of justify our craving for curiosity. But really, we don't know anything. We know like a smidgen of all the stuff that's probably still out there to know. And I think if you ever feel a certain way or, really digging into your intuition, I think you should really be able to trust your intuition, and maybe not just yet, but as you start to clean out your life, as you start to get rid of the things you don't want and the things that are bringing you down, and you start to really get onto your path of where you're meant to be in your life, you're going to really start to feel intuitive to the people around you and all the actions that you're doing. And a lot of people say to me, like, how can you make decisions so quickly? And well, it's because I really trust and I'm really, really in tune with my intuition. And when I see an action, like for instance, when I was moving to British Columbia, I remember sitting in my room, and that day I had just been having a terrible day because, I had been doing all these things with my business and it wasn't going the way I wanted to, and I was like, something's going to change, something big is going to happen, and I don't know what it is, and I'm kind of terrified of it. I really wanted to travel. I was looking at like organic farm opportunities around the world, just like anything to get out. And then I was just browsing on Facebook, and I saw this girl post from BC who I knew she just moved out there, and then I saw an ad on Facebook to be a guru with Shopify. You're working at home, it's a full-time job, and I'm like, I could do a full-time job in BC, and I just clicked on it and checked it out, and the hours were actually perfect. They were from 4 p.m. to midnight, which meant that I would have my days to do whatever I wanted, and then I would just work at home and have my night shift. And I thought, oh my god, I didn't even apply to the job yet, but I just felt this feeling. I went outside and I stood on not my porch, but we had these like stone steps, and I stood on these stone steps and I looked up and the sun was right there, and I felt this thing in my chest, and it was like it was pulling me. It was just like this crazy feeling of being pulled, and it was like, this is the right thing. And I started crying a lot because I was really sad that I was going to have to leave my friends behind. but then afterwards I felt so much strength in knowing what I was about to do. And this was before I even applied for the job, okay? This is a very competitive job to get. I had no idea. I was just like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing, and I'm gonna get that job, and I'm gonna move to British Columbia, because I just knew that it was gonna happen. And well, look where we are, right? So I think really once you start to clean out your life, you start to get on your path, you really will be able to start to trust your intuition, especially when you meet new people. You know, when I moved to BC and I was living with my aunt and my cousins for a bit, my cousin asked me, we were talking about intuition, and I won't tell you what I said, but I said, yeah, I think I'm very intuitive, I can read people very well. And he's a very skeptical person, and so he said, well, what did you think when you first met me? And I told him, and he was just like, shit, yeah, you're right. And I didn't expect him actually to say that. I thought he would kind of, you know, maybe brush it off, but, you know, it's about being honest, and it's just about really understanding what the motivation is for people and where they're coming from. And it's hard to explain, honestly. Like, I'm not going to ever be able to explain intuition, because it's not something that you explain, it's not something that you learn, it's something that you feel. And I know a lot of people brush that off as like hippie bullshit or whatever, but why do we do that? You know, this is just having this negative connotation with these people in the 70s who just wanted to love and just wanted to be free. And yeah, maybe we're like, oh, they didn't have jobs, whatever. But I think that we can really find a great balance between what a hippie was, and maybe they were just so themselves, as, you know, these people were just so themselves, almost as a rebellion to what was going on in the world, you know? So why don't we just try to find a happy medium between that? A place where we can do things, we're still doing things every single day, we're still working hard, and we're still trying to achieve where we want to be, but we're also taking the time to relax and love ourselves and love the people around us, and really understanding what is going on and why people do the things that they do. And honestly, I've had a lot of negative experiences with people, but it's never been really that negative, because whenever they're doing something, I can understand why they're doing it, and in that sense you can kind of be a little bit more forgiving, and it just helps you realize, okay, like, they're doing it for this reason, like, that's not me, I can just walk away. And you're still gonna find some people that you are totally baffled by, but I just walk away, because you're like, nope, I'm not doing that. I've had some crazy experiences in my life, and a lot of them just came from me knowing that that's something that I'm gonna be doing. So I think once we clear our lives, once we get onto our path, we'll really be able to start to trust our intuition, and who knows what kind of abilities or what kind of experiences you're going to have. And you know, we have obviously documents of all of these kinds of experiences happening for millions of people around the world, but they're just totally dismissed, because I think a lot of people, you know, maybe like science-minded people, are like, oh no, if we can't justify it with science, it doesn't exist. You know, that's pretty selfish to say that this kind of method that you have developed is the only method that can measure things. Like, what about where we came from? We can't measure that. So who knows what else is out there? And sometimes it might be a little bit scary, because it's like, oh, well, what else is out there? Maybe it's scary, maybe it's going to hurt us, maybe it's going to be dangerous. There is, you know, unknown doesn't just mean negative. Sometimes, yeah, there might be some negative things out there, but whatever is out there is what's meant to be. And so as long as you are a truly good person at your core, and being a good person is just you being true to yourself, then you're just going to be attracting good things. So if you're worried about attracting negative things, don't be a negative person. I don't know if you've ever heard about the law of attraction, where like attracts like. And so if you are a positive person, and just in your core you are positive, you are going to attract positive things and people and events and experiences into your life. Same with if you're a negative person. Everything in your life was already attracted to you, even if you're not into your intuition just yet, but everything in your life was attracted to you right now by the choices that you made, by the thoughts that you think. They all manifest into the real world. So take that control and say, okay, maybe it is unknown, but I'm still the captain of this ship. And so I can sail it in whatever direction I want to sail it into. Maybe I don't know what's on the other side, but you know what? I think it's going to be a pretty great thing, and it's worth checking out.